You
That's
need
right.
to pamper yourself. I think everybody actually need to relearn how to self-love themselves.
Definitely.
Because we always expect, right? I'm giving, like, I don't even know if it's an expectation, but we're giving and we're kind of hoping we're going to be loved back. But how can we expect someone to love us if we don't give ourselves love?
I would really like to welcome you all to another episode of In Flow with Soul. Today, I have Karyne Archambault of Montreal, Quebec. Karyne is a Reiki master and a wellness practitioner. Karyne, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Mary. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, this is excellent. So let's start out with just telling me a little bit about what it means to you to be a Reiki master and what is a wellness practitioner. Let's start there.
Well, I think people know the basic stuff about Reiki, or maybe not. It's all about moving of the chi, which is the energy in the body. So we're all made of chi, energy.
Okay.
And it's moving the energy in the body in order to help ourselves, like, work better, be better, feel better. It's all about realigning mind, body, and soul. So Reiki is really transmission of my energy to the other person's energy. It could be a person, like it could be an animal as well. So it's really, or a plant, like there's energy in everything, right? So it's really transmitting and transferring the energy that the person needs in order to unblock certain blockages that we all have in life through some, like, mainly emotions, but a lot of stuff that we go through in life. So it really kind of helps us and empowers us as well, because it gives us back the power, which is really something that I want people to connect to their own healing abilities. So it's really I'm just a helper or a guide or a mentor or whatever you want to call it. That's how I see it, basically.
So what's the general premise behind a Reiki treatment? What's happening and what are the outcomes?
Well, when you do a practice, you kind of connect with the person in front of you. For sure, you do a screening, you talk to them, you see where the blockages are. So the person could be lying down or sitting, or if they prefer standing, I do it sometimes, depending on how the person reacts or what they prefer. And then it's through movements. Either you touch the person, or you could hover above the person, and you feel where the energy is blocked. And at that point, I connect to above, and I connect to the person that I'm helping unblock and find inner balance. Because a lot of people, what I realize is that they're very conscious of their body, physical body, but not conscious of the other bodies that we have. So that's what a Reiki master does, or a Reiki practitioner does, is really to go realign all the bodies and unblock everything. So just by little movement, the person on the table sometimes feel like vibration. They could feel like it could tickle them. It could be a bit hot. It's very comfortable. A lot of people fall asleep on the table. So it's very subtle, and they find at the end of it, every time somebody leaves, or I could do it at distance as well, they feel peace. And very, a lot of times their language and the way they talk changes. They're like more like relaxed, as if they just came out of a nice, sleep that was revigorating in a way. So yeah, that's what it is.
That's beautiful. I would like to know the background of why Reiki. What was the attraction to you, and why did you decide to make a business out of this?
Okay, good question. I very early on was aware that it was something different with the energy, just by being with animals or plants. And I was around people that did tell me that to talk to plants, and that we do emanate energy. So being positive helps. And then there's some healers out there that could do miracles and stuff. So I was always intrigued about the human possibility of being able to push out our energy in a helpful way. if I could put it that way. So very early on, I was attracted to that, attracted to energy, especially in nature. Wanted to see auras. So was able to study that. So I used to go to the library and get books on energy and quantum physics and nature and how we're able to, with our hands or with our mind, be able to change things and help things and have a better life and eventually help people. So I always liked to help people. So that was kind of putting everything together. I learned, I think like everybody else though, you kind of get this feeling that you want to do something when you're young, but then you kind of follow the path that everybody tells you to, or the normal one, or what you're supposed to do to be happy, what you should do to be successful, what you should do, depending on the environment in which we grow or the culture or many, many factors. So I kind of pushed that away, Mary, honestly, for quite a long time. Even though I knew that we had dogs growing up, so I knew that I would feel the energy I could give to my dog and vice versa. So I was very aware of how we project ourselves and how energy could heal and help and make us feel better or make us feel bad. Because, you always have both.
Right.
So by kind of analyzing that, I went through life, pushed that away, work in the corporate world for so many years.
Okay.
And I think that when I talk about my experience and I want people to know it's completely normal to be sidetracked but eventually life always brings you back on a certain path, and you get signs and you get people telling you stories, and life brings you in different areas. And I went to Africa, I went to India, and it's really through all these, I would say these life lessons, the knowledge that those people gave me that I learned Reiki and that I got my certifications.
Okay.
And it was really like the self-development path, spiritual path that helped me reconnect all the pieces of the puzzle, basically.
Got it. So you knew as a child that you were aware of energy as a child. Is that right? When you said you were younger, is that childhood younger, or is it young adults younger?
I would say younger child young.
Okay.
Child young, because I would see things around trees, around flowers, around animals, sometimes around humans, people, but a lot of times the emotion kind of, if somebody's angry, if somebody's stressed, the light around people changes. So it's really the light that made me realize, what is this? And made me ask questions. Right. To people.
And were you around other adults who supported this, or did you tell anyone about this?
It's not that they were not supported. I think that they were not aware. I don't recall telling my parents about it, to be honest. I remember asking an aunt, and she did tell me. She really opened that aspect to me, and that's really how it started. And other people, when I started school, I had a teacher as well. I would say, "Oh, that's a nice light." She's like, "You see lights?" And then start talking about energy. So it's really the adults around me, not necessarily in my family, immediate family, like my parents, but an aunt and some people around that would guide me, because I was very curious. Right. But then when you start talking to your friends about it, and then you ask them, "Do you see this?" That's when you realize you're different. And you don't feel different in a good way. You know what I mean? So you kind of push it down, unfortunately.
Okay. So you have this awareness of energy. You have some support with it, but maybe not a lot of direction of where you could go with it as a young adult. No. So you go the path of
library.
Of expectation. Well, life expectations, right? You mentioned going into corporate then. Yes. So you go to school, you get your degrees, you get a corporate job. Exactly. And what's happening for you in your corporate experience? What are you noticing?
I completely became someone else. I became, I kind of wanted to follow the trend. I think like most maybe not as much now because there's a lot of people are more aware of themselves. And I think things are starting to change in that way. But you're trying to fit in. Like the people I was surrounded by were like corporate people. So we work 9 to 5, then we go eat, then we have fun, we go for a drink, and then we talk about certain things, especially not about energy and spirituality and self-development stuff.
Right.
I was always numb. It felt numbing.
Numb. Wow.
And then you realize that at that point, you don't realize, it's later on, you realize that you're wearing masks and you have layers on you that you accumulated with years that you're not being authentic with yourself. Mm-hmm. And the blessing in all of this is when things break and shake. And usually it's through hardships. And that's what I learned. Many hardships very early on kind of shook me to the core and it was the best way to wake me up, basically.
So if you don't mind me asking, what was maybe one of those hardships that got your attention?
My divorce. I got married very early on and it really was not what I was expecting. And it was kind of not the best situation, not the best living environment. Didn't expect that. So to see the in French we say l'envers de la médaille, look like the other side that was hidden, and then you see someone's true colors. So for me, I was like mind blown by a lot of things that happened when I got married that I wasn't expecting. And so that was very hard for me.
Yeah. Well, what did you start to see about yourself then through this challenge of your divorce?
That I always had the signs. I always had signs telling me that I should not go and marry that person, that I should not follow that path because it's not me, that it's really not making you happy. So I constantly would get signs, and I know sometimes it's hard, but you could ask a question and then you hear a song, and that song literally triggers something, and you're like, was that for me? Can't be. But it is, you know?
Right.
But now I know. But in my early 20s, I did not know.
Sure.
So that's the thing that I realized after, is that along the way, I was never alone. there was always like a guidance with me.
So even though you were putting on these masks, right, to fit into this corporate world, now on the personal side, you're going through this divorce that is waking you up a little bit to this, it sounds like. And then even looking back at seeing that I've been getting communications about this issue all along the way. Even when I wasn't listening, the signs were still there, and I can look back now and see them. So now, how do you look forward from there, right? So now I see that I've got these masks, that signs and support is always with me, whether I'm listening for it or catching those signs or not. Is this when you start looking forward then to see who do you really want to be?
Yeah, well, it was always like I get signs, and then it would be physical too. So I came upon a book a long time ago, I forgot the name, about how your emotions, the minute you have like something triggered in you, the minute it's physical, the minute you have pain, it's because your body, like your different bodies, so spiritual, emotional, mental bodies, been trying to send you signs, but like the last resorts, the alarm in your car, because our body is like a car, is ringing and making you feeling pain when it's like, okay, now you need to really wake up.
Right.
So when I woke up and I started to have, when I divorced, I still had physical pain, had a lot of heart pressure, and I had pain in my legs, and it was very, like I could barely walk at one point. So and then I went to see a therapist, a holistic therapist, and she helped me tap into those things and saying, go look back in you. And what is it that you always knew as a child that you wanted to do? What do you connect to? And I'm like, I connect with nature. I know there's energy. I love to help people. I love to guide people in healing themselves. Not to tell them what to do, this, but help them find,
Right.
I
Their
always
own
like
inner
that.
guidance.
So, exactly. So that's what I do. And that at that point, that's when I'm like, okay, I think I need to tap into that and then follow the signs. So I started meditation, and then I started to meet different group of people and be interested in herbotherapy, aromatherapy, and all those natural tools that you could get to help you. Lithotherapy as well, the power of crystals, the power of it, aromatherapy, essential oils, plants, meditation, yoga, really trying to reconnect my soul and my intuition to my body, because it was clearly disconnect. Right. So then I followed the path, and then I went to India, and that's where kind of everything blossomed at that point.
So what brought you to India? Was it your corporate job, or where's before we go to India, where's the corporate in this storyline?
Okay, so when my corporate was when I still was married. Okay. So I was married following the corporate life. My boyfriend then became husband, was in the corporate world as well. My entire family kind of following the path of what I should do. You date the person for a few years, you get married, you buy a house. We all did that, right? Right. Way too expensive house for what we had at that point, but doesn't matter. It looks good, right? I had the nice Gucci bag. It looks good, right? So you kind of follow that. And then when all this shattered, sold the house, got the divorce. It was a long divorce. It took like a year. Oh, wow. And I was still in the corporate world at that point, but then I started my therapy. And one day in meditation, I'm like, okay, I need a sign. I need to do something. And I knew I needed to help. So at that point, I did send my CVs to go work and help in Africa, because I always wanted to do and be, how do you call that? Humanitarian. Sorry, my French comes out. Humanitarian in English. So I sent my CV, and the day after I signed my divorce, I got a call from this foundation telling me, are you still interested? We're looking for someone to teach in Africa. I'm like, I'm your girl.
Wow. I love
that was
timing.
Not along Reiki or along anything else, but in a way, that was my path of healing, because you need to heal yourself in order to be able to help others heal themselves.
Exactly.
So that's what I did. So I got out. I gave my resignation to my corporate company. Left. Told my parents. They kind of were. They were like freaking out. Like, she got divorced.
Right, I bet.
Like, what's up? What's going on?
Right.
The girl that we knew that was like, in this box is completely different. So I could put myself in their shoes. That is very overwhelming. Being a parent now, I know. But they were very open, and they really let me do that. They accompanied me in that. So I was able to go, and I went alone to Africa for a few months and really helped to find myself and learn from those people over there. They transferred me their knowledge about certain remedies to heal your soul, to heal your body, how to give energy. It was not, I didn't get my Reiki certifications there, but they did show me so many things. Sometimes you don't need to have a certificate to learn from the elders, right? Most times you really don't. Right. So I was able to learn that. And then I came back to Montreal. Another God wink, I call them God. It doesn't come from me. I think it comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer, the late Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said that in one of his seminar. When you get like a sign from your universe, it's like a God wink. Yes. So I got this God wink. I met one of my teachers that I did my bachelor's with. Very human person, very spiritual, but very scientific as well. Because you could be spiritual, but be very rational and like science. Sure. Right? And he kind of, the fact of meeting him by fluke, and we start talking, and he tells me, why don't you do your MBA? So in international development.
Okay.
Because I wanted to help, you see?
Right.
I still wanted to help. So I'm like, yes, why not?
The mission's the same. Mm-hmm.
The mission is the same. I like studying. I like this teacher. Mm-hmm. Along the way, I learned Reiki 1 while I was doing my MBA. And then I went to India after to do my research for my MBA. And then I stayed there 6 months. Almost didn't come back.
Oh, wow.
Because the lifestyle, the connection, they taught me so many things. And that's when I completed all my Reiki learning and all my healing learnings. I think it's, there's different things that I don't have a certification for, but they transferred me, and I feel so blessed for that. Yeah.
That's amazing. So what did bring you back to Canada?
I got I had a ticket date, a date on my ticket. So I came back because I needed to finish writing my thesis for my MBA.
Okay.
I thought I was going to write my thesis, then submit it a few months after, and then find a job in international development. And in the same way, I could still do my Reiki, for me, it could go hand in hand. It was it was another tool, in my toolbox.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I became a mom.
Okay.
And that was one of the most beautiful gifts. And at the beginning, I'm like, okay, it's okay. It's just part of the journey and everything happens for a reason. So I'll go back on international development later on, which never came. And I never pushed it, funny enough. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe that, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and everything you learn and go through makes you the person that you're supposed to be. And right now, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. And I love what I do. I do Reiki. I really try to help people empower themselves through my sessions as well. I give them tools to help them empower their souls and find ways for them. Because it's so many times, I see in so many ways, sometimes you need to do this, journaling, meditation, take this, do this, go for 1 hour, this. And I find it so strict.
Yes.
And not everybody functions the same way. We're all different. So my way is good for me, but it may be not good for you. So it's finding the balance and accompany people through Reiki, through my empowerment sessions, through oils, through tricks, essential, to help you find you underneath it all. So, yeah.
Exactly. That's amazing. And what a gift that we are able to give to your clients. I think the gift of our true self is the best gift ever.
It is. And to show them, sometimes I'm they're having a bad day and they're telling me, I'm not as good as you. I'm like, I have bad days too.
Exactly.
It's not because you're the tools and you know what to do that you are not stuck in drama sometimes. There's ways to get out of dramas. I teach that as well. But there's sometimes you're human. Well, I'm still human.
Exactly.
And it's okay not to be okay.
Absolutely.
It just takes maybe not as long. It just doesn't take as long to get back on my feet because I do have my tools that I really like sharing. I think that's my mission, to share those tools, and then people make their own recipes with the tools that I could give them.
Sure.
But it's okay not to be okay every day.
100%. And honestly, I needed to hear that.
And it's
last Monday, I had one of those really bad days. I didn't want to get out of bed, and this is so not like me. But I just didn't want to do anything, and I was observing the experience as much as I was having the experience, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And the part of me that was observing it was kind of sitting back and saying, this is going to happen. This is just part of the path. It's okay. It's okay to have a bad day. And the part of me that was having a bad day was fighting with that part, saying, no, it's not. I got things I got to get done. Right. But just being aware of that. And then, as you say, by the next day, I thought it would be better. I wasn't.
No.
So again, I was still telling myself, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. This isn't going to last forever.
No.
Whatever is happening is happening.
Exactly. And I think that when you tell me if I'm wrong, but for me, I'm harder on myself because Karyne, you know better. You teach people that stuff. I'm hard on myself. I'm like, at the beginning, now I'm better. At the beginning, I'm like, you can't be like that. And then
that's right.
Like when you go in observer mode, which is very important to do that, you're like, no, you're like everybody else. You need to be rocked sometimes. You need to pamper yourself. I think everybody actually need to relearn how to self-love themselves.
Definitely.
Because we always expect, right? I'm giving, like, I don't even know if it's an expectation, but we're giving and we're kind of hoping we're going to be loved back. But how can we expect someone to love us if we don't give ourselves love?
Exactly.
And nurture.
Well, in fact, people could be loving us and we're just not receiving it.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. So we have to be in that state where I feel worthy enough to receive the love that is coming to me.
Exactly. And sometimes it's all really powerful. We're disconnected. Sometimes the energy in us is so like bundled up or like disconnected or is stuck in one place.
Yes.
And what as well Reiki helps is to kind of start the flow again, move your flow around to help you be back in your own power.
Yeah.
And then people could, heal themselves as well by knowing how to move their own energy. So it's really all about transferring knowledge and transferring energy.
Absolutely.
That, yeah.
Let's shift gears here a little bit to now you as the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So now you've got these beautiful skills, the service that you want to be able to share with the world. How do you now translate that into a business? Did you know where to start?
Yeah. Well, maybe because I had a background in the corporate world, so I kind of knew certain things, but when you're doing it, it's not as easy and when it's your own, because you always work for someone else before.
Right.
So the mindset switches in a way that you become the boss and the employee.
Right.
So sometimes I have to be like a little harsh with the employee. Like, okay, now you're slacking off too much. It's finding really the balance. I think when you're an entrepreneur, it's finding the balance. And I always thought I was not going to be able to balance life with my business, my daughter, being a single mom and everything. But it's good. It's all a question of organization. Like there's certain ways that you need to know. I learned very early on that the main actions, like the main ones that you need to do them early in the morning, because that's where you have more energy. So if I have to prepare, I don't know, my accounting stuff, or if I have to do something, I know that I need to be concentrated, so I do it in a specific time. So it's all about organization, I believe, and being able to follow your flow as well. And respect you, and I can't do that alone. So I have a lot of friends and people that I could count on, that could help me, that could guide me. There's a community as well. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, I'm alone in this. I'm not really alone because I know other people that have their own business. So we share. Right now, it's kind of difficult to meet and share and have a coffee, right? But we do Zoom. So the connection with people helps a lot. And I think that's how we could grow as well as a company. Definitely, by helping one another. Like I have a friend that, like she works more in psychology, or another one that is a chiro, another one that does yoga. So we do help each other by spreading the word as well. And, being there if somebody has something. So the sense of community when you're an entrepreneur, I find it's even more important.
I do too. Because as you say, we're our own boss, we're our own employee, and that's it, right? Yeah. It's us and the rest of the world. Exactly. But when we can find that community where we can at least just have a space where we can maybe unwind, right? In front of someone else who knows what... that sacred space is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So So it sounds like community is really one of the ways that one of the things you've leaned into in terms of finding that strength to go on day after day. And, some days are winning days and some days are struggling days.
Definitely. It's not like I say to people, it's not like someone who goes and has a 9-to-5 job. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a choice. And I made that choice that I wanted to have freedom of my time and freedom of expressing myself and create myself in the way that I wanted to create myself. Right. Yes, it is scary. It is, takes balls. Like a lot of people that I know tells me, they're like, I wish I could do that. And I tell them you could. Exactly. You do have to make sacrifices, but it's so rewarding at the end. Like to go to bed at night, I don't have the same stress or the same, same routine the next day. For me, it's liberating. For other people, it might be stressful or scary. Absolutely. But for me, it was the perfect path, honestly. This pandemic made us even more secluded, but I feel that with what I'm doing, funny enough, I don't feel secluded at all. I feel amazing. Like I can connect to people even more. Right. And help them even more than before. Because a lot of them are more awakened now. Which is a big thing.
It is a big thing. Yeah, absolutely. So many more people are maybe getting those winks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And seeing them and recognizing them and then saying, what do I do with this? Who can help me with this? And so I'm glad we're having conversations like this because we all get stuck, right? We all have things that we're holding on to and those things that we're holding on to are keeping us from becoming our true selves.
Exactly.
Who we really are capable
to be. And what I had a conversation with a client the other day saying that a very fit person, like goes to the gym almost every day. And I asked that question, I'm like, it's perfect. We need to take care of our temple, our body. It's mandatory in a way to stay healthy and to stay balanced. But I'm like, what do you do for your inner exercise? You do muscle exercise for your body. What do you do for your inner exercise? And there was a blank. Oh, well, I do listen to music sometimes. Oh, that's great. And then it's just people don't know how. When you don't know better, you don't do better.
Exactly.
So that's why I love having those talks to people. I'm like, you need to realize it's a question of balance. Go to the gym. Go to a restaurant. Eventually we'll be able to go back. But have this social, have this drink of wine, have fun, party. But it's all a question of balance. Have time for your inner world too. Because when this is out of balance, well, it shows in your body. And that's when I have people saying I have pain here and pain there. And I'm like, okay, let's go rebalance that. But maybe I should teach you how to prevent, either through meditation, Reiki, oils, all kinds of tools that could help them. Prevention is important.
That's a great idea. So, we were just talking about how so many people don't know what to do to take care of their inner selves, right? But even before that, there's a lot of people who don't even know that they need to think about an inner self. Like all we know is that we have this body and we're not aware of anything else. So something else that you said earlier in this conversation too is that let's call them blockages, for lack of a better word, like move through these other bodies. And when it finally gets to your physical body, that's it. Like this is your last warning. This is your last warning, so to speak. So what do you tell your clients in terms of what are some of those warning signs that might pop up? And I know it's going to be different for everyone, but if you could kind of just give us some ideas about what we could be looking for so that we might notice some of these imbalances before it shows up physically.
Yeah. Well, headaches. If you have headache every day or every week, it's not normal to have headaches all the time. Headaches a lot of time. My God, you must have so much stuff in your mind. But when you start having migraines after that, And I'm not just talking about hormonal migraines, talking about regular, and it gets stuck in your neck. So that's a trigger. That's something that is triggered in you that you need to see and go in your body and, talk to your body. You're not going to start talking, like a cartoon character, but you could go, okay, what's going on? Why I have this pain there, and then see what it says. And then if you don't know how, and you don't have the tools, then you go find someone who could tell you before it becomes something else. Back pain. A lot of them have back pains. And
definitely
it's blocked. The chakras are oftentimes blocked. So by just knowing which chakra is blocked, there's so many things now, even on the net. Sometimes there's false information, but most of the stuff now are so easily accessible that you can know, okay, just to identify, oh, this is the area, like stomach, the sacral chakra, or constipation, or cramps all the time. I can't go to the bathroom. Well, something needs to change. Yes, it's important the way you eat. It's important what you drink, but it's also important what you think, what you do, what you vibrate with, who you hang around. And it's just finding a way to balance every little thing. And you're like, the toxins you put in your body, how many times people are blocked just because their skin is blocked? The cream you use, the thing you smell.
So before though it even shows up physically, how might it show up for us? Like what I'm thinking of is brain fog, shortened memory. Those are signals that I often watch for in myself. Like when I'm forgetting, I tend to be forgetful, but when I'm even more forgetful than usual, then that's one of my signs that I'm getting out of balance. When I'm foggy thinking, like I've got foggy and scattered. So I've got an idea over here, I've got an idea over here, and I've got projects going all over the place. That's a sign to me that I'm scattered.
You're not focused.
Are there any, exactly. Are there other kinds of common, of those kinds of symptoms, again, that someone who is not used to, again, understanding that they need to do internal exercises, what are those signals or symptoms that they might be getting, might be receiving, that says, hey, it's time to go take some time for yourself?
Like you said, the fog in the mind is one of them. The fact that you hurt yourself a lot. People that are bruised constantly, it's because they're not grounded. Something is off. Or if someone is stuck always in a control drama, and thinking negatively constantly, you're out of balance. Something is not balanced. So you need to find a way to rebalance everything before it escalates into something else.
So would that be looking like someone who just feels like everyone's out to get them? Like every story they tell is they've been a victim. Definitely. They've been victimized in some way. Whether, and I don't mean that in a necessarily a major trauma sort of way, but just, calling customer service and not getting the results that you want. And we all have those experiences, but when that experience becomes such a big deal, to me, that's a signal that we're out of balance.
Oh, definitely. Right? Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. It's when everything is always negative. We could all have bad moments, but when it's constant, that the drama is always there. Like the pain is the physical pain, but just someone who always bumps into something or always hurts themselves. There's always something happening. A bump on the car. There's always something. Okay. There's something you're emanating clearly that needs to be balanced because your energy is not properly used.
Right.
So let's recalibrate that.
And then if it's not addressed at that level, it will show up eventually in the physical symptoms, like the headaches and the backaches and joint pains.
Most times it always goes in the physical. Unfortunately, it's the last resort.
Yeah. So that's your last warning, people.
Like, do something about it. Like, come on, you could do it.
Well, and I know for me, that's exactly what happened. Like, I have had psoriasis. I've known about it since I was in high school, but I wasn't really doing anything about it. either those physical symptoms or the underlying issues related to it until it got to a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
And if I did, I was going to end up staying in my house forever, like
There you
COVID forever. And that's not something I was willing to live with.
Yeah.
So I can relate to waiting for that final warning system before doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also why I like having these conversations, because I didn't know enough about how to take care of my inner body either, which is when things got as bad as they did. It's
normal because I don't always, like I used to bruise myself constantly. But now I journal pretty much every day. And I recommend people to journal pretty much every day. Pick the time of the day you want. Some people are so strict, you need to do it this time or before bed. Just pick your time, doesn't matter.
Sure.
But when you kind of reassess and then you see how your physical body and your mental body and your emotional body is feeling, you're in tune with you, because we only
starting to listen to yourself.
Yes, we need to. Who else is going to listen to us? Right?
Exactly.
Like we need to listen to ourselves and love ourselves enough to take like this 5-10 minute and reassess. Okay, how was my day? Why wasn't it good? Why was it good? What did I do? Where do I have pain? Right. What am I thinking? What do I want to create? What don't I want to create?
Right.
Very important questions. But we kind of forget because we're stuck in that wheel. That, okay, tomorrow I have to bring my daughter to school. Then I have to do this. And then even I sometimes, honestly, when I have clients or I have like a session for essential oils, or I give a teaching about empowerment sessions, or I have busy stuff too. And sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, did I have time to breathe today?
Right.
But I mean, consciously.
Right.
So that's when I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to go for a 10-15 minute walk in nature, or sit and breathe the sun with my cup of tea and just love me and be in the moment. It's all about being in the moment, people. Right. But I know it's harder said than done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's working those inner muscles eventually.
Exactly.
It gets there.
That's beautiful. Karyne, I am so grateful for your willingness to share this time and this information with us and helping us see our inner selves as important as our physical bodies and how we can start to take care of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really love sharing those things. And I'm so grateful for people that shared it to me. So if I could give it back, that's my way of helping.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, before we close, tell the listeners where they can find you and what you can do for them.
Well, I could help you with rebalancing your energy centers for sure, your body. I do empowering sessions to help you find the power within you to help you with your own tools that you need, because I cannot give you a cookie cutter kind of list of stuff you could do. So we're going to see that together and see what is best. Talk to you about certain things that helps me and that are proven. So essential oils, all the other things that I could do, wellness sessions and with you. So you could come and I'm sure you're going to put it as well. luminaom.com. And I'll be more than
it'll be in the notes.
Yeah. I'll be more than happy to help, talk, chit chat and see what could we do together. Yeah.
Beautiful. And do you do distance sessions so that listeners who may not be in Montreal?
Especially right now with COVID, I mainly do only distance sessions, and Reiki works even better, actually, even better, as good as in person, because it's like being connected Wi-Fi, right? Energy is not something that I need to touch someone to work. It's all done like as if your cell phone is connected to Wi-Fi. So I connected to this energy Wi-Fi, and I do have amazing reviews and people that are seeing amazing results too. And I get distant Reiki. That's my friend sends me, and it's amazing. Yeah. So we could do it by distance.
Well, thank you again so much for sharing so much of yourself today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, everyone. And I hope that I was able to inspire people, even just a little bit.
I'm sure you have.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mary. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope that you are coming away from this experience feeling a little more inspired, maybe a little more informed, or maybe just a little more rested. Overall, I hope you're coming away feeling more empowered. If you do, please give a thumbs up for this episode, subscribe so that you will not miss any future episodes, but most importantly, please pass this link along to your friends and to your network. Let's pass this sense of empowerment along. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate you.